Good evening, dear MRS fans. It's Wednesday again. Wednesday evening means MRS time. The mainstream racing series continues, and as we are at the midway point of the season, we have a special community event for our MRS community here tonight. We will see the 4 short tracks. This is it. Silverstone, Suzuka, Bahrain, and Austin, each the short version. And each race will be a 25% race distance. So that means everyone has something around 13 or 14 laps. And from these very short laps, this event today will be faster, will be a shorter event than usual, and every starting grid of each racetrack will be a randomized grid, so the game will decide who is on which position, and the overall top 10 after the 4 events will then get the points granted, just as a normal event would be. So if, let's say, driver XYZ wins every race and in the end is in first position, he will get the 25 points just like he would if he won a regular season's race. The 4 short tracks are very special, and ironically, I had a 4 times shorty event just 2 days ago, so I am already grooved in. I am already very familiar with this format, and I can tell you that the difference between those tracks is really big. So the best track in short version definitely is Bahrain. It is fast-paced track, even more than the regular one. We have 2 DRS zones plus 1 long straight without DRS zone. So in case the drivers are listening to me, you should really go on minimum downforce on this track. There is actually just turn 1 that is a slow turn 1, and the new turn 4. And second, I would like to say, is Silverstone. That is almost a real racetrack. You can see on the minimap it's around half the size of the regular track, and it's a good one. It has the first sector, and then we cut off half the track and go back to the Hanger Straight. And third in line is Kota, the Circuit of the Americas. This is the longest of the 4 short tracks. We basically only cut off half of the S's and the long back straight. And so really a lot of turns, just one medium-sized straight. That's the start-finish straight. So if the drivers are listening to me, for Kota, you need to maximize the downforce. And this one is actually, in my opinion, the coolest track of them all. The best track itself, just with a very narrow transmission phase between the regular parts. So this is a quite dangerous part of the track. And in my mind, definitely the worst of these 4 is a short version of Suzuka. It is the shortest, just a bit over 30 seconds of lap time. And you see the main straight, the start-finish straight. Then we go through the S's and one tremendously complicated, difficult transition from the S's back to the main straight that is actually more or less inside the pit entry. So not an easy short track, really difficult. And some drivers have said that they have not driven the short tracks before, so we can expect, as there is no qualifying, as the grid is randomized for each start, we can expect a lot of havoc, doomsday in this each transmission phase, in this transmission turn, from where the drivers think they should drive when going the right direction, but no, we turn left or right there. And as the session timer has already ticked down, this is the way we race: 25%, full rules and flags, dynamic weather, manual race start, manual gearbox, and regular corner cutting only. So no, not too much of penalty seconds, luckily. In the event I was part just 2 days ago, I have seen one driver being disqualified because of penalty seconds in a short track and a 25% race distance. So yeah, you can imagine what this guy did. I do not call out any names, but yeah, it was fun to watch. And we have, I think, 17 drivers in. There are a few drivers missing. One of them is Mirko Caruso and Kahantan. They are on vacation, so have fun in your vacancy. And I am a bit jealous. I would like to have a vacation again after half a year of lockdown. You would really need to get out, get to see something different. But okay, at least you guys made it. And another one, a third man who's missing, is Jarne Vandebril. He's one of our admins, the one first or second Ferrari driver. He is missing because he's building a house with his girlfriend and they need to visit the architect tonight. And yeah, Jarne Vandebril didn't want to let his girl go alone. I suppose he was afraid that would mean that his man cave would get chewed up by an extra-sized kitchen or something like that. So yeah, he said he will return next week when we then head to Barcelona. And for the first event in Silverstone, we see fair weather, blue sky, little bit of tiny clouds. Just the weather we all want to have when we go racing. Okay, we will have an installation lap. That is very important for our drivers to get to know where the turn is to leave the regular track. This is right here, right, Mr. Price. Follow Martin Ward. There we go. Onto the transmission, a very wide transmission. It's wider than most of other tracks. Ryan Price is not having the best installation lap. Nevertheless, he's starting in the pole. Mercyman Martin Ward in second, Nevis Ekic third, David Loss in fourth, and Mike Taylor fifth. And in the back of the grid, P17, we have Peter Simpson. Then Scuba is back. The return of Stephen Hodgetts, one of our regular drivers last year, but had to step down to reserve tonight, and he reserves for Mirko Caruso in the second, or rather first, Mercedes. The rest of the grid, I cannot run it down completely for you, but just too less of time. But you can see on the left-hand side, just search for your favorite driver. We will have almost everyone starts on softs. We will see one mandatory pit stop, so you cannot just go mediums or hards and run through. You have to stop once, even though the softs would make the race duration. So the start of our social event. Let's go in Silverstone. Good start for Pricey. Martin Ward not too bad either. And then Ikic running wide in the background already. Some debris flying off. There's some shield that has been run over by one Williams, I think. Could be Blake Gary. And almost everyone got it through the transmission zone. One Alfa Romeo was sidelined there. That was Dominic Walsh. So the first transmission from regular track onto the other side went pretty well. I did not expect that. That will be a lot more evil later when we head to Suzuka. Ooh, Stuart McDonald overtaken on the outside. Took a lot of curb to pull that maneuver through. Just as always, the table is confused, but that doesn't matter. As soon as we are in lap 3, that will upgrade itself automatically, and the real lap 3 I mean. And on a short track we will hit that very soon. So, what's going on in the front? It is still Pricey who is leading. Ryan Price, good start for him, followed by Nevis Ekic, who looked like he was in trouble in second or third turn. David Lawson then in third, and what happened there? Ryan Price was slow, and there was some Red Bull in the grass. That was David Lawson. Oh no. Lawson had a good start, but then was pushed off the track, I think, and Ryan Price looks like he is under pressure. Jack Rognan overtake him on the inside. Price needing to run wide, dropping a lot of positions. Ward and Gary sneaked through, and Mont and Leonard Cam did so too. So there is some kind of problem for Ryan Price. He dropped down -6 positions now. Let's see what will happen here. Martin Ward running wide. Coming back to the track and taking Price with him. Oh, big havoc there. Scuba is out in his return. Scuba terminal damage on his Mercedes. Oh, that's sad. That is very sad. Price is slow. Can only mean we have a VSC or something. Yes, full course yellow. VSC, that's it. Sadly not depicted. And some debris flying off in the background, so someone hit anything when coming into the pits. A lot of pit stops now. I suppose everyone will pit now for this one mandatory pit stop. Dominic Walsh looks very slow. I don't know what's happening. Does he have a puncture or is someone ahead? Oh, have a look. This is Tom Walsh, his brother, who was so slow in the pit entry or in the pit lane. Who knows, for one of the Walshes. This is Dominic Walsh. I think he's wearing the Ayrton Senna Legacy helmet. I can see it from here. Oh, and Rognan is out. There's a wrecked Ferrari. He lost it on the left-hand side curb and then crashed in the right wall. Yeah, and David Lawson is back close to a podium. Lawson was in third or fourth, I think, then had some troubles in this situation when Scuba went wide. And due to all these troubles for the other drivers, Lawson is, yeah, well, at least back in sight of a podium. David Lawson told me in the drivers' interviews earlier this season that his target, his aim for this season is to have at least one podium. And, well, maybe the community event would be a good moment to do so. So let's see what's going on. Blake, Gary in second, and then Nevis, Ikic. Those are the two leaders. Ryan Price getting lapped here in lap 7. Okay, can only happen when you race on the short tracks. So there is Ikic ahead. Some backmakers, some lap drivers close, so can be a little bit confusing right now. Blue flag is probably being waved all over the place. But Ikic looks like he is sneaking away a little bit. 1.2 seconds the distance. I can tell you, Nevis Ikic has not won a race yet in MRS. Different than his real life buddies, Mirko Caruso and Kantan. It does not look like as if Blake Gary could be able to attack. Meanwhile, Samixna, Jack Rognan told us in the chat box that he was involved in some kind of a crash with Nevis Ikic, who is pitting now, and Gary does so too. Blake Gary could have had the chance to run one lap longer in hopes to be faster on this one lap, but he decided differently. Likewise to Lawson and Grimo behind, so second pit stop phase here. Good stop for Ikic and Gary likewise. Leonard Cam, the only one who decided to run a bit longer. As the track is so short, he is already near the pit entry. He does not pit again. Yeah, well, I hope that he knows that he has to do a mandatory pit stop. Let's stay with Leonard Cam by the name of Stuart MacDonald for a moment. Our single Scotsman. The pit lane is so long here in Silverstone, plus one of the slowest pit lane limits, so that means the pit delta is really huge. You can see 26 seconds, almost 27. And I can tell you, one lap is just 35, maybe 40 laps of duration. And Martin Ward, the next one who DNF'd. We see yellow in sector 2. That probably was him. Leonard Cam still did not stop, but we can see him losing time. Ikic made up half a second. Let's have a look at the penalties that are handed out. Oh, Nevis Ikic has 5 seconds. Probably that was a pit lane entry. Speeding in a pit lane. A few +5s. Ikic, Captain Infinity. That's Sam Clark, the other McLaren. Grimo, Thomas Walsh, Mike Taylor, and Pricey even a double +5, and Stuart MacDonald still does not stop. Ooh. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is no mandatory pit stop, but I thought that this is one of the basic rules. You cannot switch off in the game. We will see. Either he will come in now to have just one lap on mediums, then late. Yes, he does. Okay. Yes, he does. Second option would have been... Oh, another +5. So the +5 seconds of penalty with Ikic equally... equalize each other. That was the word I was searching for. And Leonard Cam stops for mediums. Where is Ikic? Where is Ikic now heading to the Lewis Hamilton straight? Oh, that will be close. Leonard Cam. Oh, this is not even close. Leonard Cam is ruled back into 5th, so not even close. Leonard Cam lost a lot of time. Akic back in the lead. But this will not stand. Nevis Akic will win the race. We are already in the last lap. Akic will win the race, but that will only last 2.5 tenths. Not even half a second. Akic will be the race winner, because the real race winner for our first 25% community race will be no one else but Andrew Mont. Andrew Mont just 81 thousandths ahead of Blake Gary. Wow, what a photo finish in the end between Monster and Gary. Hey, wow, that was close. And Bilton Matt very close likewise. So our podium is just separated by half a second. Is that close? Unbelievable. And Nevis Ikic, who had a perfect race, almost perfect. The start was a bit wobbly, but the rest was almost perfect. But just this one pit lane penalty made him rank down to just 4th. This is a driver of the, not the day, a driver of the event. Let's call it that. Andrew Mont. Congratulations to Pierre Gasly. And first of 4 trophies handed over to the Monster. So this is the final result after penalties. Andrew Mont has won it ahead of Blake, Gary and Bilton Matt. Then Nevis Ikic, David Lawson in 5th. Ricky Kuau in 6th, 7th goes to Stuart McDonald. 8th, Dominic Walsh. P9, Sam Clark. 10th, only 1 point, at least for the momentarily table for Peter Simpson. 11th, Thomas Walsh. P12, Mark Goodman. 13, after pole position only, is Ryan Price. 14th, Mike Taylor. 15th and beyond, everyone has DNF'd. That is Martin Ward, Jagger Rocknan and Stephen Hodgitz. So that was it. No, not today. 3 more races upcoming. This was just the first one. Next one, I think it was Suzuka. So after one of the best shorties we had towards the worst. Sorry if I say so, but Suzuka is just the worst. The drivers are checking in case someone's listening to me. You have to maximize downforce there. Let's see who our game will put in the poll. First poll went to Ryan Price. There was a little bit of a bet going on in the background chat, so let's see if Ryan Price will be the poll setter again. So now there are still some pylons standing, but that will not take long until all of them are gone. This is the end of the transition corner. This is the place where you head back to the start finish straight. similar weather as we had in England. So fair weather, dry, sunny race, and 20 seconds still remaining for the time our drivers have to get the setup loaded into the game. Yeah, Jack Rognan said in the chat box that he is looking forward for his comeback now. That's a good thing when you have multiple races per evening, so you are not automatically out. And Andrew Mond is on the pole. Andrew Mond, the winner of Silverstone, has been put into the prime position. Navis Ikic now third. Similar, more or less similar to where he finished in Silverstone. Scuba is fourth, not that far away off the pole, but not in the pole. That means... Who was it? I think Captain Infinity was it who mentioned it in the background chat. I do not owe you a shoey. And David Lawson and Dominic Walsh in the last starting row. So this has already been it. You can visibly see how short this short track is. The shortest of them all. So, Andrew Mond won Silverstone. Andrew Mond won the lottery for the pole in Suzuka. Can he transform that in the second win in a row? That would give him a, sorry for the pun, monstrously good position in our today's ranking. The 5 red lights are on and Suzuka, let's go! Better start for Sam Clark, not a good start from Andrew Mond, lost the lead already, but at least second. We see a VSC very early. VSC very early. What happened in the background? Some debris flying around. Plus 5 seconds. Penalties are handed out to a lot of drivers here. A lot of tags and touches on the VSC. That is automatically a plus 5 seconds penalty handed out by the game. Ricky Kuao, the loser of the start, -3 for him. Maybe he was the reason why we see the VSC. This is the place. This is the transition, and I, just as expected, a lot of drivers missed it. Mark Goodman was the first I saw. And we have an early pit stop, the early mandatory pit stop here for Peter Simpson, who has a 5 seconds penalty to serve first. And then he will finish the race on the yellow tire. Oh, new nose too. New nose, new yellow tires. Yellows look best on the Renault. The important thing for him now is that he must not get lapped. If he is lapped now, his race is over. And here the leader comes. That is it for Peter Simpson's race. Oh, who was there? This was not Andrew Mond. Then I think it was Grimo who was in the grass. And here we see Navis Ikic following Sam Clark. And then here on the right hand side, there's the transition. Ooh, Sam Clark almost exceeded it. But have a look how big the gap is. Martin Ward had an even bigger problem. And Grimo is out. Grimo has decided to step out of his car. Simo, the next penalty for ignoring blue flags. Yeah, that's not familiar to him. Haha. Captain Infinity almost exceeded this transition turn again. Let's have a look how the drivers get through this phase. In trouble, David Lawson it was, who killed one of the pylons. There's Blake Gary, but a little bit of grass there, but that was okay. In the transition turn here, and he got through. Seymour another time he ignored a blue flag, so yeah, I said it, I mentioned it. His race is more or less over. So Nevis Ikic is in the front again, and Andrew Mond is too. So these two drivers are really nailing it tonight. Very good form for those two boys. Let's ride on board with Ikic as we head towards the midway mark of the race already. I said it, the shortest of the shorties. Ikic, this is the only DRS zone. Yes, DRS is activated. And he's getting closer to Andrew Mond. Oh, but here in these turns, the dirty air kicks in very hard. Yellow in sector 2, that's one of the S's. The next DRS zone, and he is too far away again. It looks like always at the end of the DRS zone he is getting in reach. Like here again. But then in the S's, Andrew Mond can pull away just enough. Ah, and Ikic, no, that was a mistake. Now it is more or less decided for Ikic, and there he is. Who was it? His real life friend, Ricky Kuau, unlapping himself. So Andrew Mond is now far away in the lead, 3 seconds. As long as Mond doesn't commit a big mistake, this should be it for him. Let's see who will still need a pit stop. Everyone in the top 9 still needs a pit stop. Right when we say it, Tom Walsh and Ryan Price is in. Ooh, Ikic, too far in the transmission turn. No one close to capitalize on it. Andrew Mond in the pits. Sam Clark is so too. And Mercy Man, Martin Ward, is up in 4th again. Ah, but he didn't stop yet. Now he is. Now Martin Ward is in the pits. So yellow sector 1 already vanished, I think. Ah, there's the mandatory pit stop from Ikic. Let's stay with him for a moment. Or at least with the battle between Mond and Ikic. Andrew Mond almost in the gravel, bit in the grass there. That costed him time. Maybe this was just the little mistake. Ikic needed to stay ahead. Monster here on the start-finish straight. No, Monster Andrew Mond back in the lead with 2.5 short laps, separating him from the 2nd win in a row. And if he brings that home, it's almost impossible to take away the overall lead of this event here tonight. Scuba here in trouble. Blue flag for Scuba. So everyone has pitted this one time that was needed. Bilton Matt is out. There is already some yellow. Where is he? There is some wrecked car ahead. Ooh, yes. Heavy impact. Probably he touched the grass on the left and then ran into the barrier on the right hand side. There was someone in the gravel. Who is it? Martin Ward, that's his name. And yeah, he's not making it any better. And he's out. Simo is so too. Simo. That's a yellow car somewhere, yellow flag already. There is Simo. Is that Simo? It is Simo. Simo has crashed his car on the same place as Bilton Matt did, but all of that is yeah, not affecting him. This is Andrew Mond, and Andrew Mond will win for the second time tonight. Second victory in a row for the monster. And Nevis Ikic in second. This time he is and stays on the podium, not as we saw 10 minutes ago in Silverstone, where he was pushed off the podium due to the penalty. And in third, Sam Clark, Captain Infinity 3. We're still waiting for David Lawson and Mike Taylor. Now it's only Mike Taylor left. And then the second community race is already in the books. Yeah, it's pretty fast now tonight. This is the second of 4 races that's already in the books. Driver of the event was Dominic Walsh. And Andrew Mond is celebrating in his cockpit and now on the podium. There he is again. There he is again. The guy who calls himself Pierre Gasly. And he has won second race in a row. And totally deserves the second shower of digital champagne. Together with Nevis Ikic and in the background Sam Clark. So this is the final result of the penalties of the second race tonight. Andrew Mond has won it in front of Nevis Ikic and Sam Clark. Fourth then for Thomas Walsh, coming from P14, P5, and Dominic Walsh coming from 17th. In 6th, Gary, another points finish for him. Jack Rocknian in 7th, Ryan Price 8th, Ricky Kuau in 10. Last point goes to David Lawson. Mike Taylor 11th, P12, Stephen Hodgitz 13, and actually not DNF'd but still in the classification with +2 laps, Peter Simpson. The rest did not finish, and it's Mercy Man, Bilton Matt, Leonard Cam, and Mark Goodman. So, first half is already over. And we leave Suzuka and head to Bahrain. The one track of the shorties that I say is the best usage, totally high speed, even more of a high speed track than the regular version is. So in case some of the drivers listen to me, you have to minimize downforce here. $50 points for Monster, 30 points for Nevis Ikic. That's how the table stands at the moment. And then 17, 15, 14 very close in the places behind. But actually, in case Andrew Mond gets into the points here tonight, now in Bahrain again, I think he's almost already now uncatchable. So let's see where the CPU puts him in the starting grid. I mentioned again, we do not see any kind of qualifying. This is not a reverse grid. This is just a randomized grid by the game. Fair weather again here while we see the cheering and clapping audience. 22 seconds remaining to minimize the downforce. Sorry if I repeat myself again. So, session timer has ticked down. Who's in the pole there? This is Red Bull. Red Bull of Mercy, man. Name is Ekic, very far in the front again. Ekic on second. Sam Clark third. Where is Andrew Mond? Ooh, Andrew Mond only in P16. So this is a total Alpha Tauri last row. This is the transition turn. Let's see how many drivers will exceed it on the start then and run straight ahead. There will be some. This is the place where we had the biggest carnage on our short tracks event on Monday. This was really doomsday. Spa 1998. Let's see how the MRS drivers will get that done. So this is the first time Mainstream Racing Series has a community event where there is a first time, there is a last time too. Because if everything goes how it is scheduled, this tonight is my last broadcast. My last broadcast on my beloved PS4. Because if everything goes right, I might be granted to purchase a heavily overpriced PS5 tomorrow evening. And I hope that next week's Wednesday, I will be able then to stream the first time from my PlayStation 5. But for the moment, let's scroll through the field. This view is good. The 5 red lights. And off we go in Bahrain. Good start from Martin Ward. No chance for Ekic to attack. Already behind Captain Infinity in turn 1. Ooh, there was a crash in the background of this Renault here right in front of us. Let's see. Oh, there's a bubble in the background. Some Mercedes involved. Let's see who will run straight ahead. There was a Haas putting the pylons away. But no carnage. Oh, there's the carnage. Right when I say it, there was a Mercedes pushed into the wall. That was it Scuba? Or was it? Nah, it was Ryan Price. Ryan Price. Just when I said it. Oh, and there's the other Mercedes. Scuba spun on the inside curb of turn 12. 12 at least in the regular track. You cannot touch this inside curb because you will spin then. And here we see, what do we see here? Captain Infinity, Sam Clark battling against Davis Ekic. The ranks are not correct. This is the typical lap 3 chaos of the standings. Lawson is out. Our host is out. Crash between turn 2 and 3. Seymour and Ryan Price in the pits. So Seymour was involved in some start chaos. We saw one Renault who had troubles, and that was Seymour then, obviously. And Martin Ward is leading the way. There he is. The one Red Bull that is still in the race, but he will be under a lot of pressure. Ekic and Sam Clark pushing. For the moment they are still fighting against each other, but very soon they will head for Martin Ward. This is the view of Ekic, yellow in sector 2. There was some Mercedes who spun in this vicious turn 12 again. Kuao pushes ahead of Sam Clark here. And wheel-to-wheel action here between the Racing Point of Mike Taylor and Sam Clark. So Sam Clark is rather being downgraded ahead of attacking. Ryan Price is out. He has checked out. 2 spins were enough for him. He DNF'd in the pit lane. We have a VSC, and Sam Clark immediately crosses into the pit lane, but therefore picked up a 5 seconds penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He will not serve the penalty here. He will need to serve it at the end of the race then. Chagarognian and Grimo Goodman pitting into. Oh my goodness, Captain Infinity Sam Clark now has completely ruined his race. He had to almost stand still to obey to his sector times on the VSC, and because he was braking so much, Scuba, this guy, Stephen Hodges, ran into his rear and ruined his front wing on it. Scuba did not have a pit stop yet. He will have to do that now, but the pit stop will be a lot longer because he needs a new nose. And now finally Nevis Ikic did it. He pushed ahead of Martin Ward, but he's still there. No, he is not! He is not! He is not! There he is! Digging out of the grass. Oh, that is sad. Martin Ward had such a good race, but got pushed sideways from Ikic, and now needs to hustle behind all of them in P8. Where is Andrew Mont? He is now in 6th, but he didn't have a pit stop yet. Oh, and Martin Ward! Martin Ward! Sliding through turn 12. Almost like if it was intended that way. He was sliding over the run-out zones. Will he pit now? No, he won't. He still needs one, but not yet. So this is now the top 3. Ikic, Kuao, Taylor, actually a top 4 with Blake Gary being close to. So these are our 4 top runners. This is the view of Blake Gary, and all of them ahead of him equal the podium. Blake Gary already had a podium tonight. Was in 2nd, so darn close behind Andrew Mont. 81 thousandths of a tenth. He was behind the winner in P2, and now with some good luck for him and a bit of racecraft, he might make it on the 2nd podium for tonight. First pit stop is Kuao. Blake Gary should be DRS equipped. Yes, he is. Williams is split. And ahead we see Taylor chasing Ikic. Gary must close up a little bit to stay in the 1 second window. And he is not anymore in the DS zone, just outside of the 1 second window. And Taylor isn't likewise, so the leaders are pulling away of each other a little bit. All of them still need a pit stop, all of them. It might really come down to who gets into the pit lane the cleanest, meaning who will pick up or not pick up a 5 seconds penalty for speeding in the pit lane. We see someone who spun in sector 2, Taylor into the pits. Gary does so too, very cautiously. I think both were very cautiously on the limiter line, because they know they just cannot risk their podium with a stupid 5 seconds penalty. Fresh yellows for number 46. That makes Ikic and Mon the only drivers who haven't stopped yet. And Gary, wheel to, who is it? Grimo, I think? Yes, Grimo. Oh, and wheel to Dominic Walsh. Yes, it is. Dominic Walsh. Oh, and Gary is, all of a sudden, Blake Gary is far away of a podium again. Now as we are equalized on pit stops, he needs to overtake 2 more drivers. One he already has, that was Grimo, and the other one maybe right now. Against Dominic Walsh, no, not yet. This is the only straight of this track that is not a DRS zone. Mont and Ikic in the pits. Where will they come out? Where will they exit the pit lane? They should be somewhere here. Andrew Mont is behind Blake Gary while Ikic is ahead. Oh, very close, battling ahead, right in front of the nose of Gary. That's Dominic Walsh and Ricky Kuao, yellow in sector 1. And Walsh on the faster soft tire pushes ahead. Dominic Walsh on the podium the first time tonight, and I almost want to say the first time in the whole season. At least it feels like this way. And now Walsh needs to push on his faster soft tire. Ahead is his teammate Nevis Ikic, who is chasing for the lead. He is attacking Mike Taylor. This is for the lead into turn 1. He should be through. I think he is. Yes, he is. And in the background, wheel to wheel. No, not wheel to wheel anymore. Dominic Walsh is through. So we have 2 Alfa Romeos on the podium as things stand right now. But there is Kuao with a counter-attack in the other DRS zone. Great battle for P1 and 3 going on. With 4.5 laps remaining. No DRS zone here, just the slipstream for Walsh. Andrew Mont is in P8, so not a victory, but at least enough points so that he could stay, that he will stay in the lead. In the lead of our evening here tonight. Dominic Walsh on the faster red tire. Late on the brake, still wheel to wheel. Kuao stays ahead, but the next turn... Next turn was in favor of Walsh, but still Kuao stays ahead. Next DRS zone right here. And next attack. This time it should work. It works, at least for the moment. What's going on in the battle ahead? Ikic looked like he is able to sneak away a little bit. Just enough that he is not as vulnerable as Walsh and Kuao are in the DS zone. So there will not be an attack here, but maybe in the duel behind us. This is Walsh versus Kuao again. Meanwhile, Andrew Mont has dropped to P10. It's yellow in sector 2. It was a Mercedes. Yeah, has to be Scuba then. This is the view of Ricky Kuao. But finally, in this race, we have a little bit of a rhythm. We have some duels and not pure carnage where everyone is ranked up and down and back and forth and lapped and whatever. So for the first time tonight, we have some racing flow. And it is a good race, like every time we come to Bahrain, it's always a good race. So is the short version of Bahrain likewise. But the top 4, I think, are now sorted out, so there is no real battle going on anymore. Dominic Walsh able to sneak away on his faster red tire, and ahead it does not look like as if Taylor was able to attack Ikic, although we have so many DRS zones on this short track. Scuba has spun again in turn 12. So let's have a look what else is going on. Blake Gary is out of the podium discussion. 9/10 ahead of Grimo Goodman. Then a big gap, 5.8 seconds to Thomas Walsh and Simo, who had a very silent night. But yeah, was able to crawl up a few places in the last few laps. Meanwhile, Scuba has stepped out of his car, parked his Mercedes in the garage. Leonard came in 9th, not able to attack Simo. Maybe now, let's stay with him for a moment. And behind them is our driver of the day. I think we can call him that right now already. Andrew Mont. And Mont has... Oh, Mont is fighting with Bilton Matt for the last grabbable point, at least for this event. Bilton Matt on the faster red tire should have an advantage here. DRS, DRS is granted to the Bilton Matt. And behind is Jagger Ognian, so that means Andrew Mont might be dropped one position right now again. Oh yes, yes, now definitely, as he had to run through the gravel. And oh, I sadly missed the checkered flag, but here we are, the winner, now finally on the podium, the winner, this time he made it, Nevis Ikic, and in second it's Dominic Walsh, Alfa Romeo 1-2. That reminds me of the 50s. That reminds me of Juan Manuel Fangio. I think he was the last one who managed a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo. And Dominic Walsh, who is the driver of the event. I would have to look it up. Did Dominic Walsh already have a podium finish this season? I'm not so sure. But here we are, the 1-2 of Alfa Romeo. Dominic Walsh, who is no one else but our reigning champion, had a really, really bad and mediocre season of his, at least start of season 2. The last few races he wasn't able to grab a handful of points, but at least now he was on the podium again. And here is the final result after penalties of race number 3. Ikic won ahead of Tom Walsh and Mike Taylor. In 4th, Ricky Kuau. 5 goes to Blake Gary. 6, Mark Goodman. 7th, Thomas Walsh. P8, 4 points for Peter Simpson. 9th, Stuart McDonald. 10, Bilton Matt. 11, Jagger Rognian. 12th, only Andrew Mont this time. 13th, Sam Clark. The pole setter, that's Martin Ward, finished in 14th. 2 laps behind then Stephen Horchitz, and not finished was Ryan Price and David Lawson. So this is almost it, just one race remaining. One last event when we all step into the race car again in Austin, Texas. Oh, and have a look, now Nevis Ikic is leading, 5 points ahead of Andrew Mont, then a rather big gap to Blake Gary, and then it's close battle between Gary and Dom Walsh. So this is what we have to watch. Ikic versus Mont for the yeah, overall win for tonight. Let's see where the CPU puts them in our starting grid. Oh, and for our last event, for the first time tonight, we have pouring rain, and it looks really soaked. So I'm not even sure if we can go racing on Inters. Maybe this will be full wet race. And so that makes Kota a totally high downforce race 2, similar to Suzuka. So here's our starting grid, and Nevis Ekic is in the pole. Nevis Ekic was placed into the pole position, and Andrew Mond in 5th. He's not that far away, but yeah, it looks a bit in favor of Ekic. And yeah, everyone is running on the full wet, the monsoon tire. Here in our parade lap, this is still the normal S's, and here's the very narrow transition zone I mentioned earlier. It's so wet you can hardly see the track. That's really interesting. That will be really hard then later in the race. Later, in half a minute. And I expect this last event to be chaos. Something tells me this will be chaos. Few drivers have been disqualified from the warm-up lap. That's not good for them because they have to start on cold tires then. Okay, the monsoon rain tire is not as vulnerable for temperatures as the slicks are, but still a bit of a disadvantage for Hodgetts, Larsen, Gary and Bilton. So the starting grid for our 4th and final community race. And how great is it? It is wet. Can you think of any bigger drama for the last chapter? So the 5 red lights, and Austin. Here we go, the first drive-through penalty. First drive-through penalty. I think it was Tom Walsh in the background. There is a Renault already in deep trouble. I think that was Simo. And Simo is out. Simo is out. Biltemet got disqualified. I did not see why. Simo has left. He is already out. Ekic down to 3rd. Tom Walsh leading, but he was the one who has a jump start. Grimbo maybe too. Ekic third, Monster 6. Oh, there's some Red Bull in acceleration troubles in the background. There we see David Lawson, who tagged the rear of Taylor, therefore has a bit of front wing damage. Oh, and Gary almost tagged the rear of Lawson too. But not as much of chaos as expected, at least in lap 1. I think it was Lawson into the pits. No, it wasn't. Lawson's still running. Scuba is the lone pitter. No, now Mercyman is. That was the Red Bull I saw that was into the pit lane. Ah, really poor visibility here. Don't trust the table, that is confused as always. And Gary ahead is very close to Taylor. This is the end of the back straight. And Gary ahead of Taylor. Nicely done. But we will see 2 turns with troubleful acceleration. This was the first, you saw it. And this is the second. In these turns the cars are very easy to lose, very light rear. And in the rain even double or thrice. Tom Walsh, first fastest lap, but yes, Tom Walsh and Grimo Goodman both have a drive-through penalty. I think this is the last lap where they can serve it. If they don't, they will get disqualified. And Andrew Mon dropped the position to Blake Gary. Have a look. Our youngest driver, school kid Gary, is obviously a pretty good rain driver here in Kota in Texas. So, and now when Tom Walsh and Grimo have served the drive-through penalties, Nevis Ekic will be in the lead again. And Andrew Mond is then 4th. Mond was 5 points behind Ekic before this race. And that would mean as long as Ekic stays ahead of Monster, who has a bit of acceleration trouble here, as long as Ekic stays ahead, he will be fine. And this is wheel to wheel against Captain Infinity. And Blake Gary is through. Gary up into 4th. Oh, and Sam Clark has ruined his front wing on the Williams rear. And now, yes, they served the penalties. Ekic in 1st, Gary 2nd. Blake Gary, very often somewhere near the podium here tonight. Sam Clark, by the way, too. Captain Infinity with limited downforce. Not a good place for having downforce troubles. And in 4th behind, Andrew Mond. Blake Gary is now leading. Blake Gary has pushed ahead over Nevis Ekic. Can you believe it? Sadly, we didn't catch it. There is no replay option on live stream, sadly. But Blake Gary, for me, the driver of this event, driver of this race. Ooh, cautiously acceleration from Ekic. And does Gary pull away? We have a safety car. We have a safety car. I have no idea what happened. No one DNF'd. We didn't see a crash. We haven't seen a safety car all evening long, so this is maybe the one mandatory safety car phase you need to have on an evening. No, just a joke, of course, but you never know what Codemasters introduces to us week in, week out. Oh, this will be interesting. Blake Gary is obviously a really good rain driver if it rains around the Cobra here in Texas. But I think I have never seen a safety car phase and a restart from Blake Gary. I am with the mainstream racing series over half a year now already. I've been through exactly one season. I came into MIS midway through season 1. We are now midway through season 2. But in all these races, in all these 20-something events that we had, I have, I think, never seen Blake Gary leading behind Bernd Mailänder. For the moment, it's just smooth sailing. But in one lap, I suppose, the flashing lights of the safety car will be turned off. Yes, one more lap of action for Bernd Mailänder. So let's sort things a bit. We see Blake Gary in the lead, ahead of Nevis Ekic and then Sam Clark. Sam Clark in the near of a podium again. Andrew Mond in 4th. A good result, but just not enough. He will, if things stay this way, Andrew Mond will drop or will stay in 2nd behind Nevis Ekic in the overall rank. Then Ryan Price in 5th. Finally a good result. He had a good start of his evening, but couldn't put it through in the race 2 and 3. And now he would be back. He would get a lot of points there. Mike Taylor in 6. 5 seconds penalty for him. And Ricky Kuau. They had a tag somewhere, and the game automatically hands out plus 5 seconds penalties. Then in 8th, Jack Rognian, P9, Tom Walsh, 10th, Grimo Goodman, 11, Stuart McDonald, 12, Stephen Otschitz, 13, David Lawson, who was so close to a podium in Silverstone, but never came close, as close again. And Dominic Walsh 14, Mercyman 15, and Simo is already back on his sofa. His car is AI driven. Nevis Ikic, what's happened there? What's happening with Nevis Ikic? Nevis Ikic! Nevis Ikic lost his car! He is digging himself out of the barrier. And I can only assume Andrew Mond is happy now. We have a phrase in German that says he is lucky that he has ears, because if not he would smile over his whole head back and forth. For the moment this is the restart of Blake Gary, and he wasn't able to squash off Captain Infinity. Wheel to wheel into the SS here. Camera is a bit confused. Now I got it back, and Gary is still in the lead. Andrew Mond received a plus 3 seconds penalty. That is not good, but yeah, the only thing he needs to do is grab 5 or more points. That means P7 or ahead. He needs to finish in 7th or ahead. And Gary, after his short early laps... We have a safety car! Safety car again! Scuba was ranked back a bit. Maybe he caused it. Rognan, 5 seconds penalty. Taylor has plus 10 now. And drive-through penalty for Ricky Kuo. He is already last. Ooh, what happened there? What happened there? There was an Alpha Tauri going sideways. But it wasn't Monster. It wasn't Andrew Mont. He is in 4th still. 15 seconds of penalty now for Mike Taylor. Ooh, so this plus 3 seconds penalty for Andrew Mont. That could be the big decision maker in the end. Taylor out. Taylor has left us. Andrew Mont plus 3 seconds. He needs to stay within the top 7. He is in 4th now. Rognan behind him has a big penalty, so he can easily ignore him. But everyone else... Oh, plus 5 now for Lennart Cam. So the penalty situation will be the deciding thing maybe in the end, at least, for the battle between Mont and Ekic. Now, and have a look. It's raining 5-second penalties now. It's raining water and penalties. And Andrew Mont too. Can you believe it? Andrew Mont touched the rear of the Mercedes ahead and therefore automatically received a plus 5. He is at plus 8 now. Ikic now is last. Ikic doesn't matter anymore. It is just a question. Where will Mont finish with these penalties now in his backpack? Now he is in 4th. He will be overtaken by penalties from Tom Walsh and Grimo Goodman. Then he would be 6th. Maybe he will be overtaken by Lawson and Scuba too. They have less penalties. Question is then, how big is the gap to Lawson and Scuba? Then in the end, okay, ignore Scuba. Scuba now has 10 seconds of penalty. Come on, boys. Stay a bit away from the driver around you. Sounds stupid, but it's really, really hard to drive slow in these cars. Safety car is in this lap. I am broadcasting in one more league, maybe 2 soon, but at the moment it's just one additional lap race community, sorry. That is the L2S community, and they automatically hand out a quali ban for the next race if you have a safety car penalty. So that means half of the field would next race be banned from qualifying. But for the moment, 5 laps remaining, and Blake Gary will restart the field again. The last time he was surprised by Captain Infinity. What will happen this time? Gary has picked up the pace and Sam Clark follows him. Can he attack him again? It does not look like. Monster already dropped the position. Gary is ahead this time. Lot of wheel spinning from Sam Clark. Gary looks better this time on this restart. And Andrew Mont already down to 6th. Gary leading from Clark, from Price. That's the podium, how things look like now. Rognan in 4th, but he will be ranked back a lot because of penalties. Here's then Rognan in 4th. from Tom Walsh. From Monster, Andrew Mond is in 6th. He is still on the safe side of the table. But the penalties will be a problem. He is fighting against Grimo. No, he isn't. He isn't. I don't know if Grimo Goodman is aware of the situation Andrew Mond is in. Depends on if he's listening to me. Grimo Goodman is a good teammate, so if he is aware of Mond's situation, I think that he will not put pressure on him. He will be ranked ahead of him anyway after the penalties are applied. The question is, Grimo will be ahead, then Mond is 7th. 7th is still okay for him, but then the question, what will Lawson do? Lawson, the only one around who could threaten him with the penalty seconds, and if both the alphas are fast enough, Walsh and Ikic, they might be a trouble for Monster 2, and then Ikic is into the discussion maybe again. Ooh, that will be interesting. I sadly do not have my calculator with me, so it's a bit hard for me to figure out how things virtually stand right now, but this will be the big question in the end. For the moment, Blake Gary is leading the way, and he's doing so in style. Have a look, 4.5 seconds already up on Sam Clark. We got to accept or put into the discussion that Sam Clark has front wing damage. He is limited on downforce. So that is one of the reasons why he is so far behind, and that's one of the reasons why he is overtaken by Ryan Price. But Price lost his car on acceleration and took Rock there with him. And another one, Grimo, and Lawson, Carnage, Chaos. My goodness, have a look what this looks like. Spa 1998. And Rockman is still driving, but has just run into the barrier. I don't know if this was... yeah, on his own will, or if he had just a lot of downforce. Out anyway. And ironically, this is not worth a safety car phase. So we had a safety car with no one DNFing. We have a situation where 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers checked out right now, but nope, no safety car this time. Just yellow is enough. And 2 laps remaining for this guy. He is leading the way, almost 8 seconds now over Tom Walsh. And then Sam Clark in 3rd, Andrew Mond in 4th. Another penalty. Plus 11 seconds now on Andrew Mond, and he is dropped behind Stuart McDonald now. So Navis Ekic already up in 8th. Ekic will score points. Monster will be ranked behind all them. Monster will be ranked behind both the alphas. So the question is probably over. If nothing big happens, Andrew Mond will finish 2nd overall, and Nevis Ekic will be the race winner of the day. Meanwhile, Martin Ward has checked out, sadly. And here we see both the McLarens, Sam Clark letting Leonard Cam through. I don't know if that was intentionally or because of his front wing damage. Leonard Cam securing now the podium for the McLarens. Andreas Seidel will be happy. Andreas Seidel, real life team principal of McLaren, who by the way comes not very far away from my hometown. We are in the last lap now. Last lap, and Andrew Mond is battling for his chances. Pushing ahead up into 4th. But the 11 seconds in his backpack, that is the big problem. If they weren't there, he would be the overall winner. And now he finally made it past Sam Clark. So he is Blake Gary. Oh, Leonard Cam will not be on the podium. Leonard Cam, Stuart McDonald will not be in third in the end. That will be Sam Clark, Captain Infinity. Infinity 3 will be the podium setter, as he does not have a penalty in his backpack. But all of that is not, totally not of interest for Blake Gary. He is in a good position in our tonight's overall standings, so let's see how far this will push him ahead. Victory for Blake Gary! Congratulations to our youngest driver, scoring his first victory in the mainstream racing series. And in second, a big gap for a noseless Thomas Walsh. What did happen there? No nose on the racing point, but he made it over the start finish straight. And in P3, just as expected, then Sam Clark. And have a look, Andrew Mond is ranked down back to P7. P7, that would be just the position he needed. But Nevis Ekic was ranked ahead of him due to penalties. And that will make Nevis Ekic the winner. The eventual winner of our community event. But first we see the winner stands for a Williams driver by the name of Blake Gary. I am very, very anticipating the overall standings for tonight. Then this will be interesting. Where will Monster land? So good races 1 and 2. Where will Blake Gary land? Very good race first and last. So this is the final result of race 4. Blake Gary has won without a pit stop. Likewise, no pit stop for Thomas Walsh in second and Sam Clark in third. A pit stop had Nevis Ekic and still went up into fourth. Incredible. Congratulations to him. Leonard Cam, Stuart McDonald in fifth. Ricky Kuau 6th, 7th. Andrew Mann, P8. Dominic Walsh 9th. Mike Taylor 10th is Stephen Hodgetts. The AI-driven Peter Simpson finished 11th, 12th, Mercyman Martin Ward, and then not finished Rocknan, Grimo Goodman, David Lawson, Ryan Price, and Bilton Matt. So the tension rises for our tonight's overall standings. As soon as the game will maybe or hopefully finally end this session. Yeah, now the session timer is ticking down. I am looking forward a lot how things will look like then. I don't see it. Why I don't see it? Oh no. The driver's already left. My goodness. The driver's already left. So I cannot depict you the overall standings. How sad is that? Okay, so this shows that we need a bit more of experience about these kinds of evenings. So I hope that David Lawson, our admin and host, will post the standings in the end then on our Facebook page. Just search there for the Mainstream Racing Series and you will find it. Anyway, this was a fun evening. Almost the same duration as we would have on a normal evening. Interesting. Thanks for being with us. I'm Seb Bauer. Glad you watched the Mainstream Racing Series on my channel. If you want to be notified for the future events, just hit the subscribe button and you will get a notification by YouTube. The Mainstream Racing Series continues next Wednesday evening, 7:30 p.m. UK time, 8:30 p.m. Continental. The stream always goes online something around 5 to 10 minutes earlier. We will then head to Barcelona and we will start the second half of the second season then next week. Thanks for being with us. Have a good evening. Have a nice upcoming weekend. And stay safe in these times. And keep racing.